talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. You can't go on, man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
That has to be as angry as America has ever been at an exhibition game, right? Of any kind. The tie ball game in the All-Star game in baseball, maybe because of the sacrilege of Bud Selig allowed an exhibition game to end in a tie. I cannot believe it is Tuesday, and I am still feeling the rage of a whole bunch of reporting and anger, because now it's being reported by Sam Amick that those players want to be paid to play for All-Star game, that they're talking in private about wanting to be paid. And you've got a real crossroads between the people who cover the sports, the people who love this sport, and how angry they're getting, Bob Ryan, David Aldridge, because they're not doing you the courtesy of caring the way Bird and Jordan would have, the way Magic would have.
A 400-point All-Star game. Absolutely ridiculous. It feathers.
There he is.
It feathers my longtime argument that we should abolish all All-Star games. They're all sucky.
They're all what?
Sucky. The Pro Bowl, the NHL All-Star game can't decide what to even call itself. Baseball is terrible. The NFL might be the Pro Bowl is one of the one of the few things the NFL does poorly.
Just please. I know you're resplendent off the peacocking fame of being the lead singer for Hee Haw 3. We'll get to your takes in a second, because there's been a weekend of nothing but getting mad at the All-Star game and enjoying and the dunk contest and enjoying. Hey, it was fun, Steph and Sabrina, and that did the big rating. But before we get to that, Greg Cody has told me a couple of things here. Stugotz and Billy are off this week. God bless football has been brought to its knees. They deserve the week off. It's been earned. Greg Cody is here, and this is what he just told me. No lie, sitting in Stugotz's seat. He says, I've got to write something this week. I don't have it back in my day. I've got to write something for Stugotz's book for free. It's longer than what he wrote, and I read what he wrote, and I'm not sure he wrote it. The final grift is, because I got mine, I got to write my foreword that he asked me to ask Michael Wilbon to write for him. And then Wilbon rejected it, and so now I've got to do it. He's got a bunch of people writing more for his book than he's written for his book. His book is already on sale.
That's crazy.
And I don't think he's written much. I think he's getting everyone else, like Andre Dawson, to write things.
What's Andre Dawson writing? Being a Hall of Fame funeral director? Which there aren't many. I mean, he's a one-man club there.
Top 5.
The gag. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you. My voice is very low today.
Chunkular!
I don't know why. It's naturally low. I'm an octave lower than normal. Go on. What are you saying? Isn't it low or is it me?
Has it been the singing? Did your voice
I
give
think maybe. A high-dollar woman in a low-cut dress. God never wanted me to have a woman like that, I guess.
Yeah, it's all gone to his head. The PFPI Gala was last night. And again, I don't think we have a greater, I do not think that we have a greater grift that we've pulled, even more than the Stugotz book. Where can you get it? Is it
Stugotzbooks.com, yeah.
Stugotzbook.com.
What was it? Stugotzbook.com. There we are.
Stugotzbook.com is where you buy the book. But the greatest grift we have is the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody, the star vehicle for Greg Cody, began this week the way I've never heard a podcast begin before. You tell me if this is something that you can imagine another podcast anywhere in the podcast sphere has started this way.
Sorry.
So that's an actual sneeze that begins the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody.
Sorry.
And
It's actually a cold open. The sneeze happens in the episode, but we take it and start the episode with it. It's like
creative producing.
little podcast producing there.
I've sneezed almost 100,000 times in
That's
my
some
life.
made up stat.
No, I keep track. And this, to my knowledge, is the first time that my sneeze has literally been the word achoo. Sorry.
That can't be true.
Achoo. I never sneezed
he,
achoo.
he said he was surprised by the sound that came out of his
I
own
was.
body. That it was the classically cartoon
Old school
sneeze.
It's your classic sneeze right there.
But he says he's never sneezed that way before. So that is the first recorded, captured sneeze ever of Greg Cody that was that cartoonish way.
Sorry.
Looney Tunes quality right there.
It is. It's crazy. I mean, back in my day, that's how sneezes sounded. But, I don't personally do that. But I learned one other thing. For fun, I Googled the word achoo to see if it was like in the dictionary. It's an actual word or it's just a sound. What is it? And it turns out there is an acronym called achoo, ACHOO, about sneezing. And the acronym stands for Autosomal Dominant Compelling Heliothalamic Outburst. Achoo. About sneezing. How weird is that?
Greg was not lying about the amount of times that he sneezed. The average person, according to a number of different sites, sneezes 4 times per day. Yeah. So if you take 69 years old times 365 days times 4, you get 100,740.
That seems
Thank you.
4 days.
Sneezes a day. I haven't seen
I
4
support
times
my
in a month.
bandmates.
Thank you. I tell you, Hee-Haw 3 sticks together. But he's right. And I'm a little under 100,000.
Jeremy's right that you're right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm not a serial sneezer like some people. Some people sneeze and then automatically they sneeze like 6 more times in a row.
You're a one and doneer.
I'm like 1 or 2. I'm 1 or 2. Another thing I do is I stifle about 40% of my sneezes. Wow. Where
Allison Turner once told me that if you start saying applesauce when you have to sneeze, that can help fight off a sneeze.
Is that right? I just stifle it physically, like.
You stifle figs. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Have you ever stifled a sneeze by saying the word applesauce? I also think this will be interesting. We will learn something about our audience, because I learned this the other day with Roy. I've known him for 20 years. He's a 5-time sneezer. I learned it the other day. If he sneezes once, he's sneezing 5 times.
Yep.
And so I want to ask the audience this question. 4 sneezes a day for you, over or under? For you, because I would think most of us might say we don't sneeze 4 times a day. But
when we get sick, we probably do 7 or 8, so it's averaging out for those times. Like, I feel like it's more like 2 or 3 on average.
But I also want to ask the audience: are you someone who can just sneeze once? Is everyone here a once sneezer, or are you a multiple sneezer?
No, I gotta keep sneezing. Yeah.
I'm usually a duo sneezer. I'm back to back.
Yeah.
Jack, and then that's it. Like the third sneeze, very, very rare with me.
So the joke
Sorry.
Greg Cody was making to derail the show is that, yes, Andre Dawson is a Hall of Fame baseball player, and yes, he's also a funeral director. Stugotz, in a book he has not yet written, had the audacity of calling Andre Dawson, who he only met once at my wedding, and saying to him, I need you to write a chapter of the book in rebuttal to, I don't think you should have won the MVP. I don't think that the MVP should ever be on a last place team.
Do you think Stugotz, when he was figuring out the chapters he was going to write, he's like, who can I get a hold of to like? I feel like he wouldn't have written
You've
an
got
Andre.
Stugotz figuring out the chapters he's got to write.
I'm just saying, an Andre Dawson chapter only happens if Stugotz thinks he can get Andre Dawson to write.
That's a good call.
A rebuttal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got to, though, because Greg Cody and I now, as if we don't have enough to do while he's off, I have to write something for this book that now has a deadline. And I cannot tell you how much it genuinely delights me that book, not yet written, is already on bestseller lists ahead of everybody else's books. Number one pre-ordered, even though I'm telling the audience. This sounds like a grift to me. I'm warning the audience, but I think this book is going to get done, because what that website is not that a book is done, it's that a book deal is done, which means he's gotten the advance, which he's already spent. And so now we've got to finish the book for him.
So no cut for you? Like, how does this work? Is Stugotz offering money to people?
Not to me.
Mike Ryan, why are you looking at me this way?
What? I'm just watching you do play-by-play on the latest grift. Yes, I agree with everything that you're saying.
That's amazing,
He spent
though.
the money for sure.
That's
why he's not here this week. He is actively spending that money.
What is your chapter about?
I am commenting on Stugotz saying that the 2003 Fiesta Bowl was a scam because of the controversial officiating play, and that the Miami Hurricanes are the true champion from that season.
Fireworks went off.
You were saying he's arguing that the Miami
alert.
Hurricanes should get that championship, and you've got to make the argument. You're the heel argument. He gets the easy argument. You get the anti-Miami argument.
I mean, I don't want to give away, too much of his book, which hasn't been written yet and is already for sale, and is probably outselling The Pride of a Lion. But I had the choice of whether I was going to rebut or whether I was going to agree. And yesterday, instead of writing a new Back in My Day, I was busy helping write Stugotz's book for free. So that's why I don't have a Back in
Mike
My Day.
Ryan, can you please celebrate from the back row where it feels like you've been demoted? Can you please celebrate for me? Which one feels better to you as a creative, funny enterprise? That Stugotz would have a best-selling book he has not yet written and is getting us to write for him on the promise through these microphones that we will, and they trust us and not him? Or Greg Cody starring as lead singer of Hee Haw 3.
What about me sitting in this chair?
And wait a minute, there's more to this. And now being genuinely disruptive. His son has told me he's gone full diva, and he's talking about touring. He's talking about missing shows so that he can tour. And, I got another good one. One more good one. This weekend, he asked me, hey, Hee Haw 3, I own the rights to that, right? Like, do I need to check with anybody? And I just texted him back, hey, check with Bimmel, our COO. And he's like, ship sailed, already selling the merch.
Yeah, the merch store, we have a special Hee Haw 3 outlet in our merch store. I can never remember the website name or how to direct people.
Your own
to it.
website?
Yeah, what is it, Christopher? Do you know?
Okay, really good.
Any idea?
That's good promotion.
Yeah, I have a staff that handles
Chris
the
is
merch
looking
store.
for it right now.
No, I got it off the top of my head. It's
Excellent.
heehaw.thegregcodyshow.com.
Right.
Oh, my
Heehaw3.thegregcodyshow.com.
God.
It's actually
Come
Hee-Haw
on.
Jeremy.
It would be the
Yeehaw
Hee Haw
right
3
here.
thing, to answer your question.
Okay, I searched both.
And the merch is just flying off the
I thought it would
shelves.
just be like a cool little thing that we would do for the people in live attendance
Yes.
for Las Vegas.
Don't
but,
cheapen it. That's right.
But
That's
Greg
correct.
decided to apply this whimsical backstory to it with timelines that totally ignore the fellow ages.
I'm all about whimsy.
No, you're all about commerce, and this you did. Like, what's the point of asking my permission on something if you're going to do it before I've responded?
Well, you didn't respond in time. I know you're busy, but I gave you like 2 days. You didn't respond.
I'll go ahead and give you approval. It's yours.
Thank you.
I mean,
But
it was introduced from the Greg Cody lore.
Your first
Thank you.
act, though, as post Vegas, is to cheapen what it is you guys have done. Your first act is to immediately sell out.
No.
Do I get a
disagree.
cut, Greg?
The real issue here is Yeti now, who's dipped a toe into the Le Batard Show world, is terrified of upsetting the Le Batard. Like, me and my dad are just kind of like, put it up there. Who gives a shit?
Right.
And Yeti's like, Jenny is going to get mad at me if we do this.
Because there's going to be money involved.
Yeah,
and
you guys can have your own merch, and there can be officially licensed
but
LeBatardAF.com.
but you're forgetting something that he has not yet negotiated with a member of Hee Haw 3, because now he started a commerce where he's going to take all the dollars, which is why I told him to check with our COO.
Yeah, if I can get a cut, then I'm totally Team Greg here. If I could get a picture with a shirt with a picture of my face on it that's a little unlike this company, I would really love that, Greg.
You know, as with most super groups, naturally the front man is going to get the bare share
Totally fair.
of the pie. But, we're thinking of giving the other Haws, Jeremy and Yeti, a 20% cut. So I think that's
20%.
20% total for them or
yeah,
each?
Yeah, well, that's to be determined.
Greg, this is why I told you to.
If I was
Greg,
all, if I
this
was
is
all
why-
about commerce, I wouldn't be writing a chapter of Stugotz's book
Greg,
for free.
this is why I told you to check with our chief operating officer of Meadowlark.
Yeah, Yeti was doing that on my behalf.
Yeah, but you went and sold the shirts anyway.
Well, we didn't hear back in time. We reached out.
That's how
to-
that works,
You
right?
set a deadline on me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
I'm
reached
too
out-
busy writing Stugotz's book. You're setting a deadline on me. I didn't, because I reached out within 24 hours. Like you.
It was more like 48. I keep track. You're not great about responding to texts.
Greg,
Let's be honest.
You're not.
You're not.
Why are you, Greg?
Yeah.
Why are you asking permission for something and then not waiting for permission?
There's a statute of limitations there. That's
You don't
unspoken.
decide that.
Yeah, I think I do.
You don't decide for a company?
Okay, here's the thing. I know applying.
You think you decide that for Meadowlark?
Yeah, I think that this may be an oxymoron associating the phrase hee-haw 3 with the phrase intellectual property, but that's exactly what it is. Hee-haw 3 is my intellectual property because the phrase would not exist if not for me. The hee-haw 3 were formed in the early 60s.
Uncle Dick
in
says
Vegas.
that's not your phrase, that you guys stole it. The Uncle Dick has accused that of not being your property, that it comes from mid-'80s radio.
You're forgetting about the bidet up, too.
Yeah, Uncle Dick is laying claim to the bidet, but the hee-haw 3 is mine. It's my intellectual property, and it exists because of me. I'm very proud of that. And it's on a shirt now in my merch
The shirts
store.
have our faces on it, though, Greg.
Greg,
so
you can't sell their
feels a little low. We
likeness.
might have to negotiate.
Greg, you can't.
Well,
push
Dan,
people to
you
the-
should say that. I mean, you guys
Right.
sell our likenesses, and we don't get any cut of that.
No, but everyone here is salaried.
I'm not.
There you go.
Well, whose fault is that?
I'm not salaried
mean-
either.
I've tried.
Jeremy's.
Whose fault is that? Is that my fault that he's not salaried?
By the way, speaking of Uncle Dick, on the current Greg Cody show, which dropped yesterday.
Enough about Jeremy's contract situation.
Yeah, it's fine.
We're going to treat the hee-haw too.
Can I get a contract with you,
Right.
Greg?
Absolutely. No,
Thank you.
You'll get your share. But on my latest podcast, Uncle Dick finally reveals the truth about the great coffee can incident of 1969.
Did find an issue in perusing your merch shop. The image that you're using to put on your merch
knew this.
was snapped by Meadowlark. That is
Greg.
not your property. That is our
Greg.
photo. So you
Greg.
can still put up merch. You're just going to have to pull that because that is our image.
Okay, let's give Meadowlark a cut.
Tomato, tomato.
Mike, why are you laughing back there? This is your new role. You're laughing. This is your stuff to now manage. If you're climbing up in the company, this is.
I added it to my list.
Aren't
Also,
you
get Jeremy salaried is now on there.
Aren't you?
Thanks, Mike.
Make a movie.
Aren't you talent recruitment? Aren't you? Basically
Talent development. Yep.
TD.
Developing a ton of talent right now. Huge talent. Big talented folks.
Chris Cody, I want to get to.
up?
I do want to get to the Panthers, okay? Because
Thank God.
I saw
Sorry.
I saw last night that Ottawa won at Tampa, and Tampa's broken now.
Yeah,
the
Panthers broke
the
Tampa.
Panthers have broken Tampa. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Vasilevsky
What-
got pulled in
How
the
are
game.
we not celebrating this? Is it because it's not the postseason? Because we've been trying
It's
to
because you
slay
hate hockey.
slay that giant for 5 years. For
Yes.
5 years.
Yes, and it depends on what happens in the Eastern Conference. There's an opportunity for the Panthers to actually slay the Dragon, depending on how the playoff matchups work out. But if the Panthers are first in the Eastern Conference, we won't see that as a first-round matchup in all likelihood. The Panthers beat the Tampa Bay Lightning, was it 9-2?
Yes.
9-2. They beat them by a touchdown. And this is a game that saw the Panthers score 9 unanswered. Tampa Bay scored the first goal in approximately 40 seconds. No one in the NHL in the year 2024 has more points than Matthew Tkachuk. And we knew that he would ascend.
And he started slow.
We knew that he would ascend towards this second half of the season, but he's ascending to best player in the league status. It's him and McDavid since the calendar turned to 2024. He's been a monster. This team is so aggressive. They mastered Paul Ball. We told you that a couple of weeks ago. Their forecheck is so oppressive. It's a high press that just does not give. Bobrovsky is having his best season as a Florida Panther. Reinhart has actually hit a bit of a dry spell. He's not scoring goals the way that we've grown accustomed to, but that's okay because there's people there to pick up the slack. This Florida Panther team right now is playing the best hockey in franchise history.
It's not just that, right? It's yes, you can say that, and that's startling enough. You can make the argument that they feel like the best team in the league, that they can beat anybody, that it's obvious. And when I cite Tampa, the only reason the sport matters in Florida is because of how it matters in Tampa, because they created a juggernaut And it kept getting in the way of the Panthers. The part of this story that I find most staggering, and I don't have a lot of precedent for what I'm about to say, I remember us being squeamish about the best offensive team in Panther history being dismantled by playoff hockey. The best offensive team, one of the best in hockey history. And then they said, nope, we're going to change it. And they made Florida Panthers hockey with that trade, blowing up something that was the best offensive thing we'd seen. Like just a total counterculture move against anything that anyone does in sports. You go back the next year with the same guys. No, they said immediately, not good enough. We're going to overhaul this and give us a minute, because once we master playoff hockey, we'll play it all season long. And now they've got a team that nobody wants to face. Not the Bruins, not anybody. And it's crazy to think that they can make hockey matter in this town this way by being better than everybody.
And they're building a hockey culture. Their fan base now starting to get a bit of a reputation as unpleasant, kind of reflecting the identity of the team. There's videos of Panthers fans that made the trip up to Tampa, shutting down the concourses and leaning into this really get under your skin type of mentality that the coaches preached and everyone has acted out on. And to your point, Dan, it took a while. This is a team that was an 8 seed last year and got lucky to get into the playoffs. But now, especially in this stretch where, Chris, Cody, correct me if I'm wrong, they're one away from tying the NHL record for consecutive road wins.
Yeah, they've won 11 in a row on the road.
They're doing this against the cream of the crop. They're beating Vegas. They're beating Colorado. They're beating Boston. This team right now, you'd almost want the playoffs to start right now because they'd be entering as a total house of fire.
It's also important to note, I think, that in this sports market, this crazy sports market where the Dolphins just finished the season, the most exciting season they've had in 35 years, Lionel Messi is about to begin his first full season with Inter Miami. The Panthers are the best team in town by a lot. It's not even close.
And every string that Zito is pulling is working out. Ekman Larson has just strolled in here and is probably their second best defenseman. I heard Ed Jovanovski compare Gustav Forsling to Lindstrom on the last broadcast, call them a top 5 defenseman. And entering the season, Montour and Ekblad had all the headlines. They are not only developing the talent that they have on the roster, they've got a really great eye for talent, and I think the biggest sign of that is seeing some of the guys that they've had to let go for cap reasons, guys like Owen Tippett, go to other teams and become huge stars.
I'm all in on the Panthers as well, but Whittingham said the other day, I got to fight through here, I got some phlegm in my throat, I'm not going to cough. Whittingham said that the MLS, the Inter Miami's team. I think I pushed through.
Chris,
I pushed through.
Frankie Vetrano, another guy that the Panthers had to let go for cap reasons, goes to other teams, becomes among their best players. They've just got a spectacular eye for talent.
But Whitty said yesterday, I heard Whitty say that that Inter Miami's team is the most talented team in MLS history.
Well, Greg Cody.
It's hard. I'm just saying, I'm pushing back on him saying it's the best team in town.
Greg Cody's saying it is for Messi, championship or bust, and Mike Ryan agrees, and there's not even time to talk about it in this segment.
But are they the most talented team in MLS history? Is Whitty right on that?
In terms of accomplishments, yeah, maybe form. That's a tougher argument.
They're old, right?
It depends on how highly you rate Luis Suarez, who I think has been offside, according to Taylor Twellman, 24 times during this preseason.
We're not going to lead the league in defense, I don't feel like, with Messi and Suarez on the field.
No, with Alba, Busquets, they're going to be slower. And I still don't think the roster is fully compliant with MLS rules. Season starts in 2 days.
Okay, very good. That's nice.
We got Messi. We'll figure it out.
Technicality.
Sounds like things could get messy.
Whoa.
Mike Ryan wants to get us all fired up for Senators Panthers right here because basketball, the All-Star game, it's a slow time in sports. We got really unreasonably mad. We all did. We got unreasonably mad at the All-Star game.
Why do we do this? It's been 20 years where the All-Star game hasn't mattered. Now everybody wants it to matter. It's background television. Jokic is trying to dunk. He can't dunk. He's 9 feet tall. He can't dunk. Luka's 6'8". He can't dunk. Who cares?
Did you see Jokic complain to Tony Brothers when Bam threw the inbounds pass off his back and then did a pull-up three? Did Jokic not know that was legal? Like, he was berating Tony Brothers down the floor because that happened to him.
I would like to point out to the audience, okay, that the All-Star game, whatever All-Star game you prefer, only exists because during the time of 3 channels in America, when your sports teams could only be seen nationally, maybe the occasional Saturday, before cable television, it was a big deal to have all the stars gathered in one place for a game. But now we see them all the time, everywhere, all over your social media. Every night in the league, our attention span has changed. It's no longer the time of Bird and Magic. You need 10 things. The All-Star game can be one of them, and it's going to feel like Zoe's Summer Groove. But because they don't want to be there. Like, they'd rather not be working over the weekend. They know you've got all the access to them. But it's not a special thing anymore. Like, they don't have to get rid of it because the guys don't care. They shouldn't care about it anymore. Like, it's an artifact from a bygone age. It's not needed anymore. It's just getting in the way of the rest they'd like the middle of the season. I will say this. They all want to be on the All-Star team. That matters to them. That part matters.
Not to Jimmy Butler.
Playing.
It's the only person that cares less about the regular season in the NBA than I do.
Well, I don't think that's fair to do to him at the moment, right?
No, but it's been fair to do to him for the last 3 seasons.
He's campaigned for people not to vote for him, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's a funny joke. He's making a funny joke of all of it, right? Wearing a wig to media day and just making it known everywhere. Yes, I am now.
I care a little bit more, though, because, like, being the 8 seed, doing it as the 8 seed, and I know you did it last season, but that's just making it really hard on yourselves.
7 right now.
If you really want to impress your spouse, though, during this NBA All-Star game every year, do it next year. Set your alarm to do this. About midway through the second quarter, predict. Be like, I'm going to go to Twitter right now. Bob Ryan has tweeted about this. And then I went to Twitter, and I showed my wife the tweet. She was impressed.
Your wife knows who Bob Ryan is?
She was like, oh, classic Bob.
Once again, these NBA stars are showing no respect for the game. It's another dunkarama and three-point farce. Not a single hand in anyone's face. I'll see how TCM is doing. See you next year. What a waste of time. Adam, you must do something. It's embarrassing for your sport.
Turner classic movie.
That's what that
He's
is.
right. He's right.
Put a hand in somebody's
I'm gonna go check what
face.
was on.
Continued.
I will say this. Adam, do something. This plea, Adam looked really frustrated. I mean, he wants a new TV deal. He's got stars. He says he's got an unhappiness problem in his league, that the players aren't happy enough. And you understand a lot of them talking about mental illness, even wondering about playing during this time, wondering about it since the bubble. All of this feeling like heavy. He begs these players to play all week. Give me some effort in the game.
And Anthony Edwards says, I'm going to shoot left-handed.
And the
I
answer,
kind of like that.
What Luka was doing was pure insanity. I mean, he was
Best
doing
player in the
full
sport.
court shots with like 7 minutes left.
Lillard hit one, by the way, all butter.
No one's passing. No one's calling fouls.
if Karl Anthony Towns takes twice as many shots as everyone else, you don't have an all-star.
Did he take 40 shots?
35 shots.
I enjoyed the part where Jokic and Luka were like going down the court without I think we should eliminate dribbling from the All-Star game.
Just be able to carry the ball.
Just got to pass it.
Yeah, just travel night and day.
But is anyone
No
else,
bad ideas.
Is anyone else confused by how mad everyone is about this?
Oh, it was bad.
Like, who cares? Does it matter to you? You didn't
people
even watch,
care.
probably.
I did watch. I did watch on the second screen. It was the second most disappointing
I
thing
feel like
that
you had a
happened
sports bar
Sunday.
at the house. I forgot.
Except,
It's a slow
like,
sports time. We
True
need
Detective
this.
was worse, but I mean, complaining about All-Star games does work. It does. You say that this is the angriest people have been at an exhibition? No, not at all. MLB All-Star Game brought about change. The NFL Pro Bowl had a disastrous broadcast where ratings were down and everyone was complaining, and they decided we're going to scrap the game entirely. So complaining about All-Star games has been proven to actually work and bring about change.
In what way? Now, what's the change you're going to see, Mike? Like, what do you want to see different?
About what the NBA does?
The All-Star game.
I don't know what the answer is there. You're going to tell Luka to care more? You're going to tell Anthony Edwards, hey, don't threaten to shoot with your left? I mean, when you have players, we've also never had all-stars quite like Jovic and Luka who just flatly don't care.
I got an idea. We get the all-defensive team halfway through a season, and we put them on one side of the All-Star game. So it's like the 5 best defenders in the NBA, and then we put all the good offensive players. I'm just spitballing here, Tony.
Mike,
I'm trying to fix the problem.
I think you said Jovic, and you meant Jokic.
No, he's right.
I think the only way to save the All-Star game format is to really flip it, and where all of a sudden guys are competing in other sports. Okay, hear me out.
Oh,
NBA players,
Let my boy cook.
NBA players
Like equestrian?
are involved in a home run derby. Okay,
No, nobody.
baseball
wants,
players
I'm in.
are
What
on skates.
Nobody. Look,
No, this is the way you do it. This is the way you do it.
This is how the NFL did it.
Yeah, exactly.
throwing a sneezing
Sorry about
contest.
that.
It's a terrible idea.
That's not a bad idea. A sneezing contest. Can you sneeze on cue?
Or stifling a sneeze contest.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you force what made Steph and Sabrina pop out from this weekend was it felt like something was legitimately on the line there, and people were trying their best because it meant more. And
that was cool. Incidentally,
I don't
just
know.
watching her test him and having him have to that seemed like a good amount of pressure that was on Steph shooting.
It was one of the better results because I was trying to figure out how do you win if you're Steph Curry here? And I think he found a way to win by putting up the highest score. And Ionescu would have had what tied Damian Lillard at 26. Yeah. She shot lights out. So I think that was the best possible scenario. And I don't know how
Not for Kenny Smith.
I don't know how you manufacture some of these. I like the notion of one-on-ones, but players just aren't. I would love to tap into that kind of competitive mentality that you saw pop up there during Sabrina versus Steph. But even if you say, all right, let's do one-on-ones and try to crown a best player that way, players won't necessarily buy in. You thought that if you had star power in the slam dunk contest, that would help. And then Jaylen Brown had one of the worst routines we'd ever seen. That was so bad. I don't know how he gets a higher score for jumping over a 5-foot guy in a chair than Jaquez gets for dunking over Shaq.
Boston bias.
I think a nice 3-on-3 king of the court would be really cool. Like you can get your guys
or 1-on-1.
No, not
How about a game of knockout?
Well,
remember knockout?
You will get them. Do you guys not like the symbolic sort of Cosmos laughing at if you want that game to be good? They're saying privately, according to Sam Amick, pay us. It's not Silver asking us. It's not requesting it. No, we don't answer to Adam as Bob Ryan yells, Adam, do something. No. We this weekend's a party for us.
They've never had to be paid before.
I know. I'm not. Do you not understand though why it is that turns fans off? Like how it is that's the great divider, and then it makes the media criticism even louder when these guys can't be bothered enough to care about something that they're being celebrated for. We can't honor you enough. How much must we honor you? By giving you millionaire fame and riches and the life everybody wants, and here's a televised weekend at the top of your sports and pop culture. Can you do us the courtesy of caring? No.
They've never had stars like they do now. Jokic and Luka try to make them care. They barely care about playoff games in terms of how they approach the game. I know what we saw in the All-Star game is distinctly different, but it's also a personnel issue. We laughed all summer at Jokic's inability to feel.
What's the number that you would give every NBA player for them to care? Is it 5? Is it 10?
The part that I'm more interested in, honestly, I'm not even saying there is a money amount. All I'm telling you is what do you think that league has wrought in 15 years of player empowerment? Many years ago, they made it about Bird and Magic and they built their sport. And then everyone got that power. And now you can see what's happening on John Morant's Instagram. You know these people. They made them all stars. Their social media activity is leaps and bounds ahead of all other leagues in creating the stories of stardom. And this weekend, the young ones, and this matters, the generational, the young ones who are taking over the league from the guys who cared like Steph and LeBron, they're like, it's another week where you're asking me to play basketball. And it doesn't matter that much to me. I'm already a star. How much more of a star are you making me by making me play in this game that only Bob Ryan cares about this way? Although it turns out now all of American media cares about it that way because everyone got pissed off.
NBA players treat All-Star Weekend and the All-Star Game exactly as they should, as a frivolous exhibition that means zero. They don't want to play defense. Why would we play defense? We just want to run up and down the court and show off a little bit.
I really do think, though, that why wouldn't you expect this generation to also have a different relationship with what work looks like?
Are we just reading into one isolated incident though? Because we've just taken out an entire generation.
Mike,
because
they've
of
never
a bad All-Star game.
they have never cared less. What the product that was put on the court on Sunday. This is why people are so offended. The players have never cared less about the honor of it. It was obvious.
I'm so old.
It really just doesn't matter, though, right? Because this is the way we all can and maybe should be approaching work, right? Like Gen Z says, if you're paying me to be there from 9 to 5, then I'm going to be there from 9 to 5, and that's it. And if you want me to work overtime, you're going to pay me overtime. So for the NBA, why would they approach this any differently? There's the only thing that matters, right, is whether or not they're all NBA players during the regular season, because that ultimately affects their contracts. And that's why you have guys like Tyrese Halliburton coming back early from injury to try to make sure that they're there. But ultimately, this doesn't matter. I know, I believe it was David Aldridge who said that they should basically take $12 million, put it at center court before the game, and say, hey, this is winner take all. So everybody gets $1 million if they win, and that might make it competitive. But outside of that, there's no real reason for these guys to care about this game.
Like a literal pile of money.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Like wrestling, it's above.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, he literally said Michael
Why
Buffer
not?
should announce it.
Brought to you by DraftKings.
Ladder match.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? We'll put $24 million above the court. And
The optics of that are great.
I mean,
be
put it in Las Vegas.
That would be great.
Uh,
There's no reason for players to care about this All-Star Game and treat it like work because it's the opposite. It's a respite from work.
I
But
got
it's
an
not.
idea here. I just thought of another good idea. So you put that money at the center court. This one side of the court's the west side, one side of the court's the east side. First team, everyone's on the court at one time. All the All-Stars. First team to score 1,000 points wins.
But then we have what we have now, which is nobody playing defense.
Just wild dunk like three. I just like it, just chaos and it's not worse than what we saw
How
yesterday.
about a game
don't
of
know what
capture the
you're-
flag with all that money?
None of us are buying on your idea. All of us wanted to go with you, and we don't understand what you're doing.
It's just a free for all.
It's just cash all over the floor.
No, the cash drops on one side once one side scores 1,000.
But how long
points.
do you have this game being? Because they scored 200 and some odd points in 48 minutes.
1,000 points. So you have them
there's
playing
no
5
defense
games.
being
We've been playing 5 hours.
I'm just
That
like I
doesn't-
said, guys. No bad ideas.
But people
You have a
want
good idea,
defense.
Tony? I mean, geez, very judgy today.
I'm not trying to fix it. I don't understand the gnashing.
I like it the way it is.
Gnashing and wailing about what needs to be done. Hey, man. You know the next step on this. They're not even going to want to come to the party if you don't ask them to play basketball and just throw parties in Indianapolis. Because the best place to be this weekend was in rainy, shitty Indianapolis because the NBA was throwing a big party there that the players didn't care to play in. There is a lot of stuff I want to get to. I want to get to the Daytona 500. I want to get to Kid Rock. I want to get to Mike and Cody saying it's championship or bust for Miami in Major League Soccer. But before I do that, I need to know, because a question went unanswered last segment, what was on Turner Classic Movies at the time that Bob Ryan was complaining that that's it, he's done with the All-Star Game, him and his wife are going to go see Turner Classic Movies.
At
Casablanca.
8 p.m. on Saturday night. How Green Was My Valley, which, of course, as you know, Dan, the 1941 film based on the 1939 novel, directed by John Ford, who was born in the 1800s, famously beat out Citizen Kane for the Academy Award for Best Picture.
Okay.
That was an outrage, by the way.
Major controversy. The director died over 50 years ago.
So am I, though, can I just ask the basketball watching America that I want to embrace, can you please see the comedy in Bob Ryan, who covered those old Celtics, of Havlicek stole the ball, Bird stole the ball.
That's your Johnny Most. Very well done.
Pretty good limited fake.
But that era brought by that gravelly announcer, that we no longer live in those times. That we are off in another place now with what this All-Star Game should be, and that Bob Ryan throws his remote in disgust, and then his wife grabs it and they watch a 1941 movie instead. That's comedically perfect.
I love that Bob Ryan says, respect the game, when people are literally jumping over Shaq to dump the ball. The whole thing is ridiculous. None of it is serious. None of it should be. The men in baseball are hitting underhand throws for home runs. It's ridiculous. All of it. NHL skills competition. Tyreek Hill playing flag football. I mean, all of it.
I kind of like
ridiculous.
that, though. I like Tyreek playing flag football.
Now, they just need to do celebrity games. Just make an American Ninja Warrior. Like, just
We
do
don't
it.
like the games, though. On the skills Saturday night, everybody was complaining about everything except for Steph versus Sabrina.
Well, because it didn't seem like there was a lot. I mean, what's the entertainment? Guys, I swear to you, the sport needs to evolve to keep up with the changing habits of young people, okay? This is a league that's undergone like some political strife. I don't think a league has been shaken more. It's customer based by, I don't like what's happening over there. This started with George Floyd, and in the last 5 years, they got to get to a new TV contract, and here's their big sport, and people are waiting. Like, do you know what a trope this is to make?
But, okay, let's read into what you said. Like, they have to appeal to their fan base's dwindling attention spans. Who was that All-Star game for? Who came away from that All-Star game saying, like, finally, an All-Star game that gets me? I don't think there's a single generation that was happy with what they saw. It was a crap game. There were no fouls, and I know no one's clamoring for more fouls, but at least if the referees call them, that institutes some sort of governance, that you can't just do anything. If the referees, the ones in control, are going to let everything go, then the players' effort level might match that.
The ridiculous implication of all-star games en masse is that our regular product is just not good enough. We have to give you this made-up showcase in the middle of the season with all these bells and whistles just to amuse you because our regular product is insufficient.
Folks, it's pretty simple. Bet the over. Enjoy your night. I mean, I had the over. What a fun night that was.
You know what? I've kind of swapped, and I've gone back to Bob Ryan's side now. I was thinking about it, Dan. I saw a tweet that came out during the Tech Summit. This is a tweet from Front Office Sports. The NBA has unveiled NBAI, which allows fans to activate movie mode and watch live games animated like popular films. NBA AI, show me the Pacers game as if it were a Spider-Man movie. How about let's just watch some ball? Huh? What happened to good old ball? You throw on the TV, you're watching Tyrese Halliburton shoot, and you just watch a regular game. Rick Smits is grabbing boards. You don't need AI. You don't need a Spider-Man movie as an NBA game. What happened to watching ball, Dano?
Plus, the Disney thing for football didn't work that well. I don't know if you guys remember that broadcast. Woof.
I've got to issue a correction. How Green Was My Valley would have been playing during the Slam Dunk Contest. If we're looking for what was playing during the All-Star game, it's the 1964 Technicolor Heist Classic, Top Copy.
What? Whoa, what?
Top Copy.
TOPKAPI.
Never heard of it.
I thought that when you ask who's this for, I would say you tell me, because I don't connect with Tristan Jass. I had to look up who that was. He is a YouTuber who's got a lot of influence, and he was playing in the Celebrity All-Star game. I don't know many of the celebrities who are out there. And as he's coming off the court with the ball in his hand, he comes by Kelsey Plum, who really gives him, this is an awkward way. He seems like he's happy to meet her. He's giving her baller-to-baller respect here, right? And here, this is what he gets.
Right, but he was going to be aggressive to score.
Pass the ball.
That double
bro.
slap
the
was
double
the
slap
double
on
slap.
the hand. The double
Whoa.
slap. Let's hear that again. That it's because
Demasiado.
no, what? And it's listen to this, because Jazz. He's offended by this, correct?
Right, but he was going to be aggressive to score.
Oh, that slap. I don't like that.
He took to X and retweeted the clip and said, I had more assists at halftime than she averaged her whole last season.
Burn.
And more assists at halftime than her whole career average. You pass the ball, Kelsey Plum. Wow. Kelsey Plum said, you little naked mole rat. Fair. And then handshake emoji.
He does look kind of like a naked mole rat.
Let's go back to the slap on the hand, because she looked him dead in the eye. And, I mean, come on. Calling him a ball hog when he's going over there to try to respect. Like, it's a great disrespect she hit him with.
Right, but he was going to be aggressive to score.
I mean, come on, the condescension.
Honestly, what she says there is nothing compared to just the double
the slap.
It's so much worse.
She slapped his fist. Can you isolate that sound for me? She slapped his fist. And it made.
Here, I'll isolate it.
Thank
I mean,
you.
she was complaining about passing it in the celeb game, though.
I know.
There was nobody passing in the All-Star game. Bam even said, like, they don't pass it back. And you could see that there were moments. Lillard and Halliburton were kind of having this duel, like, who's going to go for it? Who's going to go for the All-Star MVP? And you could see Lillard looking at a wide-open Halliburton and deciding, no, this is mine. I'm gonna go for it.
Chris, Cody, do this with me, okay, please. Because
Thinking on my feet in this chair.
I want all of us to slap our hands
In unison?
No,
It's gonna
no,
be tough. Okay.
not in unison. Just when you hear a disrespect, because this is what we're talking about. Like, the loudest of disrespect is all of us hitting the back of our fist, because Mike Ryan wants badly to talk about Senators, Panthers, and penalty minutes and disrespect.
167 the last time these two teams got together, including a moment in the third period where everyone on the ice got a 10-minute game misconduct. And the call from the referee was 10-minute game misconduct on, quote, everyone on the ice.
It was incredible.
Chris, your timing is not exceptional.
I'm going
here.
after he ends in a sentence.
Every time, no, but every time, I think if you want to conjure,
You do it then, Dan.
Mike, if you want to conjure rivalry, if you have to summon storylines that conjure disrespect, do you not?
Right. Although I'm not really sure what the storyline is when it comes to the Panthers and Senators, other than Brady Tkachuk and Matthew Tkachuk seem to try to prove to their teammates that they're not going to take it easy on one another, and they end up overcompensating.
Back in my day, you heard of a celebrity. When someone was referred to as a celebrity and you see him slapping wrists and one to the other, I don't know who either of those people are. And I think celebrities, if you have to wear a hello, my name is name tag, you're not a celebrity. I will say that.
These pop culture moments, I kind of force myself to watch them so I can know who these people are, because I can feel myself becoming the sports show hosts of yesteryear, where they just complain about the Grammys and the VMAs and say they don't know anybody. No, I force myself and I pry my eyes wide open so I can know who Kai Cenat is.
That's one of the more known ones. Who's Adam Blackstone?
Okay.
And why is he playing in the Celebrity All-Star?
Is that Kevin's brother?
Hold on.
you.
Can I, if I
That's
can,
Blackest Stone.
Kevin Blackstone.
This one's Blackstone.
Funny joke.
The thing that I want to get into that Mike is saying here, because he said it again, who's this for? And I would say the NBA has to figure out how to capture, and we've talked about this, the entertainment dollar and bandwidth is stretched super thin. How do I capture young people? Everybody wants to know how to capture young people. If Cody and me are yelling, who the hell are the celebrities? They're not for us. The guy I'm talking about here, I had to look him up. He's got 5 million YouTube followers. There's a whole nother world that you, Greg Cody, aren't spending any time with.
Right.
They're trying to market to young people.
Okay, well, all I'm saying is Tristan Jass, God love him. He's apparently a self-created influencer. But what does he do? Like
he's got following. He's a leader. He's a thought leader. He's an entertainment leader. These people have giant platforms, and they are chronicling their story to the people who care about them and spreading the seeds of the league through the next generation of internet. Like this is you're seeing what everyone is doing and creating their own brands, aren't you? The young people are quicker to this, faster. They're better at it. And so that's what they're marketing to. And can it, what else though?
In listening to an hour of this show, I now understand why everyone in the sports media space is on vacation this week. We got to drag this one out for a full week, boys.
Who is Gianmarco Tamberi?
Put the whole game on TikTok. Instead of going half-assed at this, where you get like a few TikTokers and you're trying to get the ratings on your broadcast network, just take all influencers and just stream the game live on TikTok and on Instagram Live.
How about 20 TikTokers on the court at one time versus like 5 great NBA players?
So, okay. That's going to work.
Is that him? Is that Jass?
We're on air, Dad.
I know. What's his name? Tyler Jass?
Tyler Bass.
He looks like an Ed Sheeran impersonator. Like a young Ed Sheeran.
You have ginger sons. That's offensive. Everyone does this with gingers. If you have red hair, you look like Ed Sheeran.
Well, I mean,
You just did it.
And he does.
I'm pretty sure he's looking at something that wasn't on the screen, though. He
There
was
it is.
doing his own private show. That's why you asked him.
I mean, trying to explain preview monitors to Greg. Go ahead.
It just says
That's Chris's job now.
It says preview,
Preview.
not on air.
Ah, okay.
Why are you looking up? You're like, preview.
I mean, I don't know.